Hello, welcome to Invictus Motors. My name is Basheer Zaheer. I've got this beautiful Porsche 911. This is the 991.1 Carrera S, which was launched in 2011. Before I can get into the ins and outs of this 911 991.1 Carrera S, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, comment if you think we've done a good job. We earn out of YouTube, and all of that money gets donated to a UK registered charity, which we use for projects in Afghanistan to build wells, and are currently in the process of building our first school through that charity. So thank you in advance for watching it. The 991.1 Carrera S was launched in 2011 at the Frankfurt Motor Show in October. This was the third time since the original 911 from 1963 that Porsche, from the ground up, completely had a brand new revamped 911. So it was a big deal. New engine, new transmission. It was longer by a couple of inches. This was everything that the Porsche fans were looking for. But at the same time, some people were probably, especially the enthusiasts, a bit annoyed about the change of having electric steering wheel rather than hydraulic steering wheel. It's not something that you could really tell the difference when you're driving it, which I'll be able to explain throughout my test drive in a minute. I think it's better that I just get behind the wheel, put it out there on the road, and give you a bit of a feel for what makes this such a phenomenal car. What impresses me the most as soon as I get into the inside of a Porsche 911 is just how well people tend to keep this in the condition that it is in now, despite the fact that this is now, what, 12 years old? Sorry, 11 years old. This one exactly in my review. But what makes the biggest difference is the sports exhaust. I've just switched on the valves. And for a test drive, I guess this must be left on. And immediately, they just feel so well planted. Just the response that you get through the wheels to the steering wheel, and just having my hands onto the steering wheel. Yes, it's no longer the hydraulic operating steering wheels. It's got that electronic input, but that's something that Porsche over the years had to do to continue to evolve and to continue to kind of make them the incredible cars they are at the moment. But the electronic input is in no way, form or shape taking away from the experience or the engagement of the Porsche 911s. I mean, this feels still like a sports steering wheel. You've got to drive this and put your muscles into it. It's quite icy today here in the UK. It's, I think, 17th December, and -5 degrees. That incredible roar you get from the engine exhaust system, that sound is absolutely mesmerizing. And that burbles. Let's drop one more. Incredible to drive, incredible just to feel, and just the overall feeling that you get combined with handling, sound, the fact it's a Porsche 911, At the same time, it's still a rather practical car. It's got a 2+2 layout. All of it makes it this incredible work of engineering. Let's talk about the performance figures. Out of the 6-cylinder naturally aspirated flat 6 boxer engine, you get 400 bhp, 440 newton meters of torque, 0 to 62 miles per hour possible in 4.3 seconds. The top speed is 188 miles per hour, and these are just some of the performance numbers. And it's just one part of the total experience that you get out of the 911s, and a very small aspect of it, because you've got a low center of gravity. You sit at a position, at a place in a sports car that is both comfortable, but at the same time the ideal driver-focused car. And should you want to be doing 400 or 500 miles to the south of France or to the north coast of Scotland, this will be very comfortable and very enjoyable to drive. And in the recent few weeks, this is probably my 5th Porsche 911 Carrera S, the 991.1 video or review, and every single one of these 911s have been equally as brilliant as each other. And what I absolutely love about them is just the overall condition. They are all in. They're very well looked after, very well maintained. Whether you call that a stroke of luck, or whether you call that all Porsche 911s are maintained to that really high standard. But when you put so much money behind a sports car, something that you may not daily every day, I think there is an element of going the extra mile to look after it and to maintain it. And this, from a serviceable point of view, and just from the maintenance that is required on them up till now, everything has been done, every item has been ticked off, and every recommendation ever made to the customer by Porsche were all done and addressed, and there are receipts and invoices of it. That sound is... And something that I think we always tend to forget is it's not just a sports car that you're isolated in. Porsche is, owning a Porsche, it doesn't matter what Porsche, what generation, what year, it's an outstanding community of people that gather together, that talk about these cars and discuss these cars, go out to events, trips, you name it. And you end up belonging to something unimaginable with most other sports cars. And it's all very natural when it comes to the Porsche, the Porsche or the Porsche 911. And for these multiple reasons, this is why we specialize in them. This is why the 911 is one of my favorite sports cars. Doesn't matter what generation of it. I've driven practically everything from a 1965 Porsche 911 all the way going up to a brand new Porsche 911 Carrera S, the 992 on a 2020 plate, and that's also reviewed for our channel. And then in terms of the upper scale of the performance side of things, you know, we've had a couple of GT3 RSs, the 991.1 GT3 RSs, and what an incredible machine they are. It doesn't matter what you own when it comes to Porsches or you drive, you're welcomed, and as a person, as an owner of, you know, where you have one of these sports cars, I think to a very large degree everyone is cherished and everyone is looked after and looked upon very fondly, because we all have our own story to tell, and that's something that I don't think you get with, I would say, many other ordinary sports cars. It's a Porsche, and then if you're buying a 911, it's a 911. So thank you for watching the test drive side of this review. Let's just talk about the exterior, interior. I'll go through the paperwork and also discuss with you future values, or, you know, what it cost circa 5 years ago and what it's worth now. Now, spec-wise, this is finished in a very desirable color. I think the Basset Black Metallic is definitely a color that I think I could say reflects the understated attitude of the Porsche 911s, complemented with a 20-inch 911 Carrera S Edition 3 alloys. But what makes this exceptional is the big optional spec items, such as having the Porsche Sports exhaust, the Chrono Sports Plus package, and obviously on the interior there are a couple of other big item changes as well. This also have the Porsche Torque Vectoring limited slip differential technology for the rear. The engine being based behind the rear axle massively contributes towards the phenomenal handling that you get from the Porsche 911s, and that's something that you've got to give Porsche credit for, because they've been tweaking and evolving the 911s since 1963. Let me just invite you onto the inside and give you a bit of a tour on what it's like. You're immediately welcomed by the four-way electrically adjustable Sports Seat Plus setup, and you've got the sports designed steering wheel with paddle shifts, makes it incredibly engaging. Here in the middle you've got the Sport Plus with a Chrono Plus package, alongside the fact this has PASM. The PCM was also updated. You could have optioned this either in a 6-speed manual or in a 7-speed PDK, the dual clutch transmission, in German known as Doppelkupplungsgetriebe. This is an incredible gearbox, and new, and the sports gear ratios on that gearbox is also by far a lot more superior than the PDK transmission that you find in the 997.2. The 3.8 litre naturally aspirated flat 6 engine produces more bhp than ever before at about 400 bhp, and the 0 to 62 miles per hour is possible in 4.3 seconds, so faster than ever before out of that 3.8 litre naturally aspirated engine. And now lastly, the 991.1 Carrera S, for me, currently sits in a very sweet spot of the Porsche ownership, because it's the last time they did naturally aspirated 911s. From there onwards, they're all now turbocharged, unless you're getting the GT4s or maybe you know, the GT3. It just depends, and some of them are so out of the price range of most of us, but something like this sits quite comfortably and holds value incredibly well. Let's go through the paperwork next and tell you a little bit more about what kind of paperwork you'll be getting with this vehicle if you're considering to buy this. From the paperwork, what's impressive is the sheer amount of documentation it has. Firstly, it's got a full main dealer service history. The services have been done at Porsche Central, Guildford, Brooklyn, and the last one in at Brooklyn as well in December 2021, which means the next service isn't due for almost a whole year. That's the spec list. It's HPI clear, and just the pile of paperwork that comes with it is absolutely incredible. And some of these invoices are recent invoices for works it's had, such as tires. Additionally, it's had advisories made against the vehicle, such as, you know, brake pads, brake discs, and all of it has been addressed, including the fact that it's got a new driver belt. And what's also impressive is values. It's quite an important topic. It's one of my favorite topics. I love to see an invoice of what that vehicle was purchased for. On the 20th of February 2016, it was purchased for £61,000 directly from Porsche Centre Brooklands. And to me, this being retailed at £50,000 now, I feel like I've retailed it rather low for the spec and for the impressive car it is. But what it also goes to show is how well it's kept value. You know, a car, somebody that's had it for 6 to 7 years, and they've only really lost, you know, £10,000, and they'd purchased it at 34,000 miles. And it's also a credit to that keeper as well. They've had it for 6-7 years, and prior to that there's only ever been 2 owners, so in total 3 owners from new. It's quite a low owner car, and the condition is absolutely incredible, and it reflects it. I do appreciate you guys watching these videos. Don't forget to subscribe. Whatever money we make out of YouTube gets donated to a UK registered charity, which we use for project work such as water wells in Afghanistan, and are just in the process of building a school there.